Good morning, students. Here is the next part of our discussion about in-text questions. I hope last video lecture you have gone through and you are well aware about all the questions which are asked for better understanding of the chapter. So far we have completed 5 kingdom classification system and kingdom Plantae. Now let's start from kingdom Animalia. Question first based on this is asked, how do poriferan animals differ from coelenterate animals? I told you while teaching that how to remember this classification of kingdom Animalia. In that we discuss पर्क चॉकलेट पैर के नीचे आते आते मोरे सर के एंट्री पे वैनिश हो गए. सो दिस इज समथिंग classification phylums you have to remember, trick to remember the classification system. But along with remembering the classification system, do remember that the organisms are going in advanced order, means poriferans are primitive and vertebrata are advanced one. Vertebrates are advanced one. So while understanding classification system, while studying classification system of kingdom Animalia, what changes have made from one phylum to next phylum? What differences are there from one phylum to next phylum? What advanced characters are added from previous phylum to next phylum? In this manner, if you understand the classification of kingdom Animalia, it will be very easy for you to differentiate between any of the phylum of kingdom Animalia. Not only in kingdom Animalia, it is applicable to all classification systems. All classification systems are arranged from primitive to advanced type of classification system. So new addition of characteristics or advancement of characteristics in new phylum or next phylum is the difference between these two phylums. Basically, when classification system we have understood, at that time we have discussed that on the basis of differences we are separating. On the basis of differences we are separating group of organisms. So in upper taxon is a group. I told you taxon is a group. You can consider phylum as a taxon, you can consider class as a taxon, you can consider order as a taxon, you can consider family as a taxon, all this. So in one particular taxon, on the basis of different groups, different differences in the characteristics, we are segregating them, we are separating them, so that minimum organisms should have common characteristics. So most common characteristics we can see in upper taxon and less common characteristics we will see in lower taxon. Most common characteristics, but number of organisms will be more, and more common characteristics, number of organisms will be less. So this is something about classification system we have discussed already. Here we have to see the difference between poriferans and coelentrates. So let us see what is the solution. They are mostly porifera are mostly marine, non-motile and found attached to rocks. Coelentrata, they are exclusively marine animals that either live in colonies or have a solitary lifespan. Solitary means single. They grow, they complete their life cycle alone, not necessarily they should be in colonies. In case of porifera, they show cellular level of organization. In case of coelentrates, they show tissue level of organization. Porifera, cellular level of organization, tissue level of organization, this is advancement in coelentrata. And then we have to write examples. poriferans, spongilla, euplectella, etc. are poriferans. And in case of coelenterate, you can give example of hydra, sea anemone, corals, etc. These are the coelenterates. Let's go towards next question. Question number 2. How do annelids or annelida animals differ from arthropoda? So see, annelida, once again same logic, we have to apply what advancements are there, accordingly we have to classify them. So in annelida, the circulatory system of annelida is closed. In case of arthropoda have an open circulatory system. The body is divided into several identical segments. The body is divided into few specialized segments, and you can further give examples of annelida and arthropoda. Annelids example is earthworm, and arthropoda jointed legs. So you can give example of cockroach, crab, etc. Question number 3. What are the differences between amphibians and reptiles? So amphibians which are living on land as well as in the water, and reptiles means which are the serpentiles, creeper animals. So let us see the solution. Amphibians, they have dual mode of life, that is water as well as terrestrial habitat. Reptiles, they are completely terrestrial. In case of amphibians, scales are absent. Reptile skin is covered with scales. So this is the difference between amphibians and reptiles. Then amphibians lay eggs in water, reptiles they lay eggs on land. Amphibians includes frog, toad and salamander. In case of reptiles, it includes lizard, snakes, turtle and chameleon. Next question number 4. What are the differences between animals belonging to Aves group and those in the mammals? So all these are the vertebrates. Now vertebrates are classified on the basis of certain characters into classes. So we are seeing the differences between the classes now, Aves and mammals. Aves means birds, mammals means who are having mammary glands, isn't it? So here Aves, most birds have feathers and they possess a beak. Mammals, they do not have feathers and the beak is also absent in case of mammals. In case of Aves, they lay eggs, hence they are oviparous. In case of mammals, some of them lay eggs and some give birth to young ones, hence they are both oviparous as well as viviparous. Oviparous and viviparous, what is the difference between oviparous and viviparous? Oviparous animals lay eggs, viviparous animals give direct birth to their offsprings. This is the basic difference. Next question is, what are the advantages of classifying organisms? So initially we have discussed about this at the beginning of the chapter. What are the advantages of classifying organisms? In that we discussed that all the organisms studying is not possible for us in one lifetime. So if grouping of organism is done, it will be a bit easy to study the organisms. In this ecosystem, all the organisms are dependent on each other. So we must understand the role of these organisms on each one's life. So need to study the organisms. So let us see what solution is given in this. What are the advantages of classifying organisms? There are wide range of life forms, about 10 million to 13 million species around us. These life forms have existed and evolved on the earth over millions of years ago. The huge range of these life forms makes it very difficult to study them one by one. Therefore, we look for similarities among them and classify them into different classes so that we can study these different classes as a whole. This makes our study easier. Therefore, classification serves the following advantages. It determines the method of organizing the diversity of life on earth. It helps in understanding millions of life forms in detail. It also helps in predicting the line of evolution. For our understanding evolutionary line, we need to study the organisms. We have to classify them on the basis of similarities and differences. and then complexity. As complexity goes on, evolution has done. This is the assumption. Question number second, how would you choose between two characteristics to be used for developing a hierarchy in classification? This is very important question. We have seen hierarchy of classification. These are the steps of classification. This is a ladder of classification. We have seen kingdom, then phylum, then class, then order, then family, genus, species. So this is the hierarchy. This is the ladder of classification system. In case of plants, it is kingdom. Then we have seen it is instead of phylum, we have seen it is division. Then it was a class. Then it was a order and family and genus and species and so on. So while developing hierarchy of classification, selection of characteristics, choose between two characteristics, how we can do. This is the question. For developing hierarchy of classification, we choose the fundamental characteristics among several other characteristics. For example, fundamental characteristics, basic characteristics. For example, plants differ from animals in the absence of locomotion, chloroplast, cell wall, etc. But only locomotion is considered as the basic of fundamental features that is used to distinguish between plants and animals. This is because the absence of locomotion in plant give rise to many structural changes, such as the presence of cell wall or protection and the presence of chloroplast for photosynthesis, as they cannot move around in search of food like animals. Thus, all these features are a result of locomotion. Therefore, locomotion is considered to be fundamental characteristic. By choosing the basic or fundamental characteristic, we can make broad division in living organisms, as the next level of characteristics is dependent on this. So this goes on the form of hierarchy of characteristics. So basic characteristics, because of which some other characteristics have developed. This basic characteristics, fundamental characteristic, we have to choose for developing hierarchy of classification. Next question. Explain the basis for grouping organism into 5 kingdom system. This is very easy question. Now we have discussed already about these questions in detail while classifying 5 kingdom system, which characteristics were taken into the consideration by R.H. Whittaker. That already discussed. Once again we will just go through quickly. R.H. Whittaker proposed a 5 kingdoms classification of living organisms on the basis of lineage system of classification. The 5 kingdoms proposed by Whittaker are Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae and Animalia. The basis for grouping organisms into 5 kingdoms is as follows. On the basis of the presence or absence of membrane-bound organelles, all living organisms are divided into 2 broad categories of eukaryotes and prokaryotes. This division leads to formation of kingdom Monera, which includes all prokaryotes. Then, eukaryotes are divided as unicellular and multicellular. On the basis of cellularity, unicellular eukaryotes form kingdom Protista and multicellular eukaryotes form kingdom Fungi, Plantae and Animalia. Animals are then separated on the basis of the absence of cell wall. Since fungi and plant both contain cell wall, they are separated into different kingdoms on the basis of their mode of nutrition. Fungi have saprophytic mode of nutrition. Saprophytic means they are living on dead and decaying material, whereas plants have autotrophic mode of nutrition. This results in the formation of the 5 kingdoms. So this was the answer how Whittaker have classified. Here this classification system is given here as all the organisms are divided into prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Prokaryotes we have kept, Whittaker have kept in Monera. In case of eukaryotes, they are divided on the basis of unicellularity or multicellularity. Unicellular eukaryotes are kept in kingdom Protista. Multicellular eukaryotes further divided on the basis of presence or absence of cell wall. Organisms without cell wall are kept in kingdom Animalia. Organisms with cell wall further divided on the basis of whether they perform photosynthesis or not. non-performing, which the organisms which do not perform photosynthesis and which are eukaryotic multicellular organisms are kept in kingdom fungi, whereas the organisms which are eukaryotic multicellular and having cell wall are kept in kingdom plantae. So this is basis of classification. Question number 4, we will see what are the major divisions in the plantae. What is the basis for these divisions? So solution for this is the kingdom plantae is divided into 5 main divisions: Thallophyta, Bryophyta, Pteridophyta, Gymnosperms and Angiosperms. The classification depends on the following criteria: differentiated or undifferentiated body, presence or absence of vascular system, with or without seeds, and naked seeds and seeds inside fruit. The first level of classification depends on whether a plant body is well differentiated or not. A group of plants that do not have a well differentiated plant body are known as Thallophyta. We discussed about that a true root, stem and leaves, if they are not present, then they kept in Thallophyta. Thallophyta further divided into different groups. Then according to their characteristics, they are differentiated on the basis of pigment system which are present in them. Then plants that have well differentiated body parts are further divided on the basis of presence or absence of vascular tissues. Plants without specialized vascular tissues are included in division Bryophyta, whereas plants with vascular tissues are known as Tracheophyta. Tracheophyta is again subdivided into divisions Pteridophyta on the basis of the absence of seed formation. So other group of plant having well developed reproductive organ that finally develop seeds are called phanerogams. This group is further divided on the basis of whether the seeds are naked or enclosed in the fruits. This classifies them into gymnosperms and angiosperms. Gymnosperms are seeds bearing non-flowering plants, whereas angiosperms are flowering plants in which the seeds are enclosed inside the fruit. So this is the classification of plants. It is made on the basis of classification of plants. It is made on the basis of some different characteristics, like do not have differentiated plant body, then it comes under Thallophyta. If have differentiated plant body, then without specialized vascular system, it is Bryophyta with vascular tissues. Further divided into Tracheophyta, that is Pteridophyta, hidden gametes are there, and who do not produce seeds, they kept in Pteridophyta. Whereas the organisms or the plants which are producing seeds, they are kept in phanerogams. Phanerogams further divided into seeds, whether seeds are naked or seeds are enclosed in the fruits. Naked seeds, gymnosperms. If the seeds are enclosed in the fruit, then they are angiosperms. Question next: how are the criteria for deciding division in plant different from the criteria for deciding the subgroups among the animals? So basically the question is, the criteria used for classifying plants are different from criteria used for classifying animals. This is the basic question. Criteria for deciding division in plants are differentiated or undifferentiated plant body, presence or absence of vascular system, with or without seeds, naked seeds, seeds inside the fruit. And this classification system just now we have discussed. Whereas criteria for deciding subgroups among animals are something different. That also we have discussed. Kingdom Animalia is divided into two major groups on the basis of their presence or absence of notochord, then chordata and non-chordata. Non-chordates do not possess a notochord, while all members of the phylum Chordata possess a notochord. Non-chordates is further divided into subgroups on the basis of the following characteristics: whether they are having true tissue system, absent or present, body cavity, absent or present, type of symmetry, radial or bilateral, type of coelom present, acoelomate, pseudocoelomate and true coelom, types of true coelom, then enterocoelom or schizocoelom. So these are the characteristics which are used for classifying kingdom Animalia into different groups. On the basis of the above features, non-chordates are divided into the following subgroups: Porifera, Coelenterata, Platyhelminthes, Nematoda, Annelida, Mollusca, Arthropoda, and Echinodermata. So these are the different classification system which are given in kingdom Animalia, and these animals, how they are classified on the basis of these characteristics, we have already discussed. Once again we will go. So animals cellular level of organization, then it is Porifera. Tissue level of organization further divided on the basis of coelomic cavity, no coelomic cavity, acoelomates, Coelenterata, Platyhelminthes, pseudocoelomates, they are in Nematoda. Coelomates further divided on the basis of mesodermal cells from a single cell during growth of the embryo, then Annelida and Mollusca and Arthropoda. Then coelom formed from pouches pinched up from the endoderm. Then no notochord, Echinodermata, notochord is there, chordata. All the members of phylum Chordates possess a notochord. However, some animals such as Balanglossus, Amphioxus, Hermania, etc. have a notochord which is either absent or does not run the entire length of animal's body. Therefore, these animals are kept in a separate subphylum called Protochordata, and the rest of the chordates are included in a subphylum Vertebrata. The members of the subphylum Vertebrata are advanced chordates divided into 5 classes: Species, amphibians, reptilia, aves, and mammalia. Phylum Chordata, notochord present at all stages. Very rudimentary subphylum Protochordata. Notochord placed by vertebral column in adult subphylum Vertebrata. So this is classification of kingdom Animalia on the basis of different characteristics. So plants classification is different, animal classification is different, that we have seen. Explain how animals invertebrates are classified in further subgroups. So animal classification, vertebrates like Species, amphibia, reptilia, aves, and mammalia. This is the classification of vertebrates into sub classes. Phylum Vertebrata, subphylum Vertebrata further classified into classes. So class Species, this class includes fish such as Scoliodon, tuna, rohu, shark, etc. These animals mostly live in water, hence they have special adaptive features such as streamlined body, presence of tail for movement, gills, etc. to live in water. Class Amphibia, it includes frogs, toads, and salamander. These animals have a dual mode of life. In the larval stage, the respiratory organs are gills, but in the adult stage, respiration occurs through the lungs or skin. They lay eggs in water. Class Reptilia, it includes reptiles such as lizards, snakes, turtle, etc. They usually creep or crawl on land. The body of reptile is covered with dry and cornified skin to prevent water loss. They lay eggs on land. Class Aves, these are birds. They include all birds such as sparrow, pigeon, crow, etc. Most of them have feathers. Their forelimbs are modified into wings for flight, while hind limbs are modified for walking and clasping. They lay eggs. Class Mammalia, it includes a variety of animals which have milk producing glands to nourish their young ones. Some lay eggs and some give birth to young ones. The skin has hair as well as sweat glands to regulate their body temperature. So this was about all the questions which are given in text question as well as exercise. All questions we have discussed in detail. I hope you people have understood this chapter very well, and there won't be any problem now to write these in text questions and exercises in your notebooks whichever you people have made. I have already shared this file on group. Once again I will share, and this lecture also. So have a good day. Now we have finished this chapter. Now next level will be testing of yours on the basis of with the help of online test. So be ready for online test. Already DPPs are provided to you, notes are provided to you. From that some questions will be asked, and we'll discuss about it in detail. So thank you very much. Have a good day.